Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Blue Jaegers, and today we're going to be talking about something that I really did not want to talk about. But, alas, I realized that there was something in here. Now, I'm sure you guys have read the title, so I'm sure you guys know what this video is about. This has been a great point of contention for the fans, especially since Operation Usurper came out. I wish I had a bowl I can just spin into every time I mention that disgusting thing. But ever since Operation Usurper came out, now this has only been exasperated because they're so happy that Annie's being chewed out for her past sins and oh, it's so much better now. But there is actually a reason. There is actually a reason why no one in this series gets punished. Again, I could have shot 3 separate videos about just how the fans treat Annie, because there's so much wrong with the way that they interpret her character and all this other stuff. But of course, people like to not bring up Reiner because Reiner suffers from PTSD and somehow Annie doesn't. That makes no sense.
I'm sorry,
I decided I'm not going to shoot on these topics because, again, I'm not an apologist. I am just a humble essayist. So I did not want to do that. But, the question does need to be raised. How come the Warriors, not just Annie, the Warriors don't really face any sort of punishment? It's an interesting question. Even the Alliance, I mean, hell, Armin is a child killer. We know he is because we see him seeing himself killing children. So, really, what's going on here? Why does this show reward such disgusting, monstrous people with happy lives, presumably? Well, presumably they have pretty, decent lives. And you'd be remiss to just pick on Annie, like, let me turn your car on you. Unless, of course, you're a misogynist, because I hear you saying nothing about Aaron Kruger, who admitted to torturing kids, nothing about Armin, but you will run your mouth about Annie. Not even Reiner, but you will run your mouth about Annie and Peek. Hey, you got issues, I don't care, I don't know you. You could, just saying, it's kind of sus. However, as I alluded to previously, there is a legitimate question here. Why is the only people who are punished are Aaron, Berthel, and Hanji? Why are these disgusting, monstrous killers rewarded for their actions? These are people who ruined countless lives and participated in the ruin of countless lives. Why are... I forgot Sasha. Sasha also got what she deserved as well. Forgot about that. But why are these other people treated so nicely? And, funny enough, I just said it. I gave you a little bit of a clue. Sasha. Right? Of course, you remember Arthur Browse, one of my favorite characters in the entire series, Arthur Browse. Now, the whole point of stifling the cycle of violence, because remember, we can never end the cycle of violence. That will literally never happen, right? The cycle of violence started way before the Eldons and Marlians, and it will happen way after the Eldons and Marlians. So, starting the cycle of violence is something that is impossible to do, right? But, and this is what, and of course the author is not naive, the author is not, this is not My Little Pony, they're not solving this with the power of friendship, of course not, that'd be naive, and there would be no reason for me or anyone else to read it if it did say that. But of course, Nicholas says, if we cannot get them out, we still must try, and we also have the 8 extra pages that were in 139. So, we know the author's not naive on the inevitability of the cycle of violence. But it's sort of like the old allegory or old saying, why clean a room when it will simply get messy again? And let's really dive into that question. Let's not brush it away. Let's really dive into the question. Why do you clean a room when it is inevitable that it will get messy again? Well, it's simple. If you're living in a room or in a space, human flourishing, a clean room is conducive to human flourishing and happiness. So of course, you would want to make that room as clean as possible, or pretty clean, so that you could have a better quality of life. No one likes to live in a dirty room. Yes, I know some people are into that. Do not get angry in the comment section, so type dumb crap. You know what I mean. Most people do not like living in dirty rooms. But most people know those rooms will simply get dirty again. So, they must make it as clean as possible to make their quality of life as big as possible. Let's take it a step further. Why pursue comfort when suffering is inevitable? That's a really good question to ask, right? If you know your life will have pain and suffering in it, why pursue comfort? Well, it's simple. As I said beforehand, comfort and lack of suffering is conducive to human flourishing. And so, the best course of action is to pursue as much, I'm not a hedonist, but in simple terms, pursue as much comfort as possible. In simple ways of speaking. Of course, again, I'm not a hedonist, I'm just saying, generally speaking, in very simplified terms, that's what you would do. So Isayama acknowledges the fact that the children will never really get out of the forest, but we still must try to get them out of the forest. Anyway, and of course, what is the big thing about getting the children out of the forest? Well, it's about what author said. Burdening the sins of the past. If the whole story's message is about burdening the sins of the past and loving people, remember that Aaron Kruger, the child torturer, mentioned that the only hope to stop the cycle of violence is to find someone to love inside the walls. And isn't it funny that Annie actually has a love interest? That being, of course, Armin. She loves Armin, and Armin loves her, of course. And presumably, hopefully, Mikasa loves Jean, and so on and so forth. And so, it'd be remiss for the Alliance, who's in no superior moral position, to turn on Annie or their warriors and then punish them. That would be stupid, because that would not be the lesson of the show that starts to unravel. He'd be breaking the lesson of his own show. That'd be like, to put it in Titanfolk terms, it'd be like if the whole, thing about Eren seeking freedom and then Eren, puts himself into a prison. Well, that doesn't make any sense. That defeats the entire purpose of the story. Eren put himself in prison, if the story's about seeking freedom, would destroy the entire moral of the story, which is about seeking freedom. But the same thing would happen if you actually enact vengeance on Annie or anyone else, because then it just was the whole point of the story. The whole point is to burden the sins of the past. And the other reason is that, as I alluded to previously, they're not in any superior moral position. They have no moral authority. They're all very, very evil people. They have no stance to say, I am right, you are wrong, you deserve punishment, I deserve reward. You see, because, as I said, they all have committed a great many sins, but they each forgive each other to follow this one principle, to clean the room as much as possible, so to speak, to get as many kids out of the forest as possible as they can. See, it's impossible to get all the kids out of the forest. That will literally never happen. But they can still try. They can still try to get as many out. And this, of course, starts by them forgiving and them giving an example to their kids to forgive. Say, hey, this lady killed some of my comrades, right? I forgave her. And also recall that Annie thought that Eren killed her father, the only thing that she had in her life. Her father. He kills him, she thinks. And what happens? Of course, she understands this, and she, of course, forgives him. Well, sort of. It's funny. It's really funny how you people completely brush over that fact, right? You say, well, why should the Alliance forgive Annie? But you don't think for a second, well, why should Annie forgive Eren? Eren killed her father, presumably, because she thought that he did. But of course, the answer comes to you instantaneously. Well, she's an evil person too. It's not like she has any room to judge Eren. Well, precisely. Precisely. See, I brought that up simply to say you get the logic here, because you applied it to Annie instantaneously. You weren't questioning why she was so quick to forgive or not to exact vengeance on Eren. You were just too busy whining about the whole Connie line. She's tired of fighting. You were too busy whining about that to actually understand what was happening. So, in short, this is a very short video. I know people like shorter videos, but in short, The simple reason why they're not punished is simply because the entire story is about forgiveness and love. Sorry to break it to you. I'm sorry. I really thought it was supposed to be this dark, realistic fantasy about overcoming monsters and killing people no matter who's in your way to achieve your goals. I know you thought it was about that, but if you look at the story, it's quite clearly about forgiveness and love.
壁の中で人を愛せ繰り返すだけだ同じ歴史を我々大人の責任や
Oopsie. But that's why no vengeance has been enacted. Anyway, take care, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video.